Hi there, this is Catherine with Enfolded Heart Music. Today I'm going to be doing a walkthrough tutorial for the Lyre Tune for Psalm 121. Just a fun fact, this is the first Lyre Tune that I did for a psalm. It was maybe 3 years ago, something like that. So anyways, it's fun to do a tutorial. For this particular one, it's got kind of a soft spot in my heart because it was the first one. But for those of you who are not familiar with the way I do these tutorials, in short, I go note by note and I walk through the entire piece for those of you particularly who don't know how to read sheet music. And so this is a way for you to learn the song even if you aren't able to receive it through sheet music in particular. I'll divide it into sections and kind of help you walk through of how I would recommend practicing it and make it a little bit more digestible for you so that you know, okay, I'll do these 4 measures and then I'll stop there, practice that, and then keep going. So I'll talk through that, and also in the video we'll split it up in different larger chunks for you just to give you an idea. But we'll get into that in a minute. If you do want the sheet music, I have that available on Patreon or just for a one-time purchase on the shop. You can purchase the entire album. This song is from the Singing with David album, so it's $12, which is $1 a song, or you can buy just the single song itself, just the one for Psalm 121. To find that, you just scroll down on the page, you'll see a playlist of all the songs, and then on the right hand side a little tiny basket. Click on that basket and it'll put just that one song in there, and it's $1.30 for just a single piece. If you have any trouble with that, as I always say, please just send me an email. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, particularly if you've bought it and you can't open it or something like that. I've added some instructions to help people understand how to open it up, but if for whatever reason you have trouble with any part of that process, just send me an email and we'll get that taken care of. Okay, we're going to, like we normally do, we'll do the left hand first. We will do the structure of the piece first and tuning your lyre, making sure all the strings are as they need to be. Then we'll go into the left hand, which is the same throughout the piece. We'll get that down, and then we will divide the right hand up and go through the piece section by section before we finally put it all together. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into the structure and the key of the piece. Okay, so let's put our lyre in the key that we need. We, for this piece, need to have it in B flat major. If you do have the sheet music, this is going to be on page 2. I'm going to be using the second copy of this. There's 2 copies in each PDF for every song I do. The first is just a clean copy with your typical notation and the lyrics in there. The second copy has the note names and the octave numbers, above and below those notes. So I'm going to be using that second copy that's got a little bit more going on. That starts on page 2, and the first measure will be measure 21. So just to give you an orientation of where we're starting. But if you do have the sheet music on page 2, you'll see at the top how you should be tuning your strings. That is for a 16-string lyre. I had a 16-string lyre when I wrote the piece. I've currently got a 19th string, but we're going to ignore those 3 extra strings on my lyre. It's just the only lyre I have now, so it's what I'm going to be using. Excuse me. So with B flat major, we have 2 flats. We have B flat and E flat. So you can see on the left-hand side, we've got our lowest string starting at G3 and our highest string all the way on the right at A5, depending on how your lyre is strung. Mine has the lowest at the bottom, or closest to me, and the highest, and the highest farthest from me. So just to walk this through a little bit more slowly, I'm going to ignore this first string because this is an F, and this is different than I had on my 16 string, so you probably don't have an F. You probably are starting on G. So we should have G3, A3, B flat 3, C4, D4, E flat 4, F4, G4, A4, B flat 4, C5, D5, E flat 5, F5, G5, and A5. And then we're going to ignore those top 2 strings because you won't have that if you've got a 16 string. If you've got a 10 string or an 8 string and you still want to be able to play this song, all you need to do is take that left hand out, or at least simplify it. Place your right hand. You'll have room to have at least the melody in your right hand, but you probably won't have enough room. Well, you won't have enough room for both hands in regards to having all the notes that are written on this particular arrangement, but you might be able to get in like a B flat, just playing that over and over again on your left hand, but you'd have to play with that on your own. Let me know if you do want to do that and you want more suggestions. I'm happy to do that, but for now we're going to assume that you have at least a 16-string lyre. You got it all tuned. Let's take a look at the structure of the piece as a whole. Now this is a little bit different than how I decided to do my later pieces. In some ways it's easier, in some ways it's a little bit more confusing. But if you are looking at the sheet music, you'll notice that what I did was in the first measure where the right hand comes in, where the first word is, you'll notice there's a 1, 2, 3, 4 next to those. So how I structured it was like you do for hymns and stuff, where you have the same melody, but you just have a different verse. So you have 4 different versions of 4 different lyrics that you're singing for the exact same melody. Now this is similar to how I've done a number of my other psalm tunes. It's just simply the way that I wrote it out. I wrote it 1, 2, 3, 4 lining down, and some of the exceptions that we will need in order to fit the words or the syllables in, I've indicated in slightly different ways. So when we get to that, I'll let you know. You'll see, if you look closely, some of the notes are in parentheses. For example, in measure 27, the very last note, that F5, is in parentheses. There's another example of this in measure 29, where you see the E flat and the D. The D is in parentheses. So I'm going to explain that. Basically what that's saying is that only on certain verses are you going to play that note or sing that note. Otherwise it's not necessary because you don't have that many syllables. So for the structure of the piece, you actually don't need to mark anything out because it's already done in the way that it's already structured. So basically we're going to play the same tune 4 times, but it's already marked that way. If you're looking at even just the first page, you'll see the repeats. So we're going to basically play 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll finish off with the end. Okay. So there's not really anything for you to mark because it's all condensed into a very small, compact format. So what do you need to know about the structure? We have our intro, which I'll go over with the left hand. That's the first 3 measures. Then we'll play the melody 4 times. And then we have an ending piece, or ending spot, little phrase there at the end. And that goes from measure 33 until the end. And that's really all you need to know. Okay. So once you've just taken a look at that, maybe even go back and listen to the original recording of this piece and take a listen to when you hear the melody repeating itself, and you should be able to pretty easily identify, okay, here's the first time, oh, it's starting again, that's the second time, and then you'll count to 4 and finish it off. So I say this just to encourage you to familiarize yourself with the piece, and this will help you know how to tackle it in regards to learning it and how to section it off for your practice. So at this point you should have your lyre all tuned. You should be pretty familiar with the piece, and once you've done that, we will come back and take a look at the left hand and get that kind of hammered down. Okay, we're back for our second part. We're going to take a look at that left hand, and just like with all of the other psalm tunes, minus one small exception, the left hand is exactly the same throughout the entire piece. It doesn't move, the rhythm doesn't change. It's very simple so that you can have more interior cognitive space to think about other things, the right hand, the lyrics, and what it is that you're saying and what it is that you're praying as you sing this. So the left hand, let's get that covered, and then when we go into the right hand, we can simply add the left hand in as a next step, and it'll be quite simple. So we need to find B flat first. This is B flat 3. So you'll need to start from your lowest note, which will probably, if you've got a 16 string, be a G. So we have G, A, and then B flat. So it's probably going to be your third string from the bottom. Again, I'm going to ignore this string, third from the bottom. So you're going to put your thumb on that. We also need to have a finger on C4, which will be the next string. We also need the D4, which will be, again, the next string. So we have these three strings right next to each other. Then we're going to skip a string, and we need this F4. And I would use your thumb, your pointer, your middle, and your ring finger for this. Sometimes the ring finger I find a little challenging. It tends to be a weaker finger than our other three, I just showed three dominant fingers. So it might take a little bit more time to get comfortable with this, but it's also a slow song. The left hand will be quite slow. So no need to build up a lot of speed around this. You just want to be comfortable so that you don't have to think about it. So I would practice just going up and down. Don't worry about the rhythms right now. Just get a little bit of comfort. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed. You're not, once you've got it, you don't need to be staring at it. So I would actually even just close your eyes or look up or just get a nice relaxed body so that that left hand can just and I would just do that over and over again until it's nice and easy for you. You may need to build up some muscle in your left hand just as you work on these pieces in general, but don't worry about that too much right now. Just nice and easy. Once you've got comfortable with the strings themselves, if you're not already steady between them, I would work on getting that. What I mean by steady is having them be kind of equidistant apart. So if you have a metronome, this would be a great time to turn that on. I don't have one with me. I probably will in later videos now that I think about it, but just a nice, a smooth flow. You want the rhythm to be consistent. So rather than kind of, right, maybe your ring finger is kind of lagging behind, just try and start slow. Again, if you have a metronome, turn that way down and then speed it up just a few clicks at a time so that it's got a nice easy sound to it and it's nice and consistent. So once you are, again, comfortable with the notes, you have that consistency, let's take a look at what the actual rhythm is. And we are already playing it, which is very nice. Sometimes I have a slightly different rhythm in the left hand because it fits better with the time signature, but we're going to be playing in 6/8. And so what this means is that we're going to have six, I won't go into this too much, 6 beats per measure. But you'll feel it on 2 major downbeats. So rather than just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you'll feel it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that might be a little bit helpful for you as you're working on this left hand. So the left hand plays on each one of those 6 beats. So it'll sound like this. So I'll count in and then start the left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Okay. So get the hang of that, get comfortable with that, and once you have the left hand already taken care of. And we will come back and start with the right hand and get this melody in our fingers so that we can then have those 4 verses and work those. Okay, we're back and we are going to take a look at the first verse of this piece. What this will inherently involve is that we need to learn the right hand first, then we'll add the verse in, the right hand, then we'll add the 2 hands together, then we'll add that first verse in. The subsequent sections, we will focus on the next verses, 2, 3, and 4, but we won't need to spend time learning the right hand because we will have already learned that. There will be some exceptions, like I mentioned at the beginning. Those parentheses notes, or even maybe sometimes the rhythm might be a little bit different because the syllable is a bit different. So it needs to fit more cleanly and more smoothly depending on the verse. But I'll speak to that with those specific verses. But generally speaking, it's going to be the same notes that we're going to go through. So let's take a look at what those notes are. We're going to ignore the first three measures because that's just the left hand. We've already been doing that. So we'll add that in a moment, but we don't need to go over that again because, again, we just did that. But let's take a look at measure 24. Again, I'm using that second copy. Measure 24. We need to find that B flat 4 in our right hand. We had B flat 3 down here. So one way to find the B flat 4 would to be count up 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. The other way, if you don't want to count 8, would be, we already know that this top note is an F, and we count up from there. F, F, G, A, B. So just to check that you're on the right note, play your thumb and where you think that B flat is, and they should be the same note. If they sound like this, you got the wrong one. Or this, wrong one. Okay. So we have B flat. We're going to be coming back to this a lot because we're in B flat major, so it's our kind of root note of the piece and of the scale. So we have B flat 4. We have that twice actually. B flat 4, then in measure 25, we have B flat again. Then we skip a string and go up to D, D, then E flat, D, C, D. We're going to pause there for a moment. We've only done just the very end of 24, 25, and the first half of 26. But now that we kind of have an idea of where the notes are, we have again B, D, E, D, C, D. Let me play that in the proper rhythm for you so that you can hear what it sounds like and then practice that right hand on your own. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Beautiful. With any of these psalm pieces, if there are times when the note repeats and you think it sounds a little bit unnecessary, you're welcome to leave that out. Sometimes I repeat them and sometimes I don't. It really just depends. I have them written in because I need to indicate where that syllable or that word is and what note to sing that on. But it's up to your judgment of whether you want to repeat every time or sometimes, or just play the first note and not do the second or third note, depending on what you think sounds best for how fast you're playing it or how you like to do it with your voice and your singing and your prayer. So just a disclaimer, or not even disclaimer, just a small note for you as we go through. Some of them you will see, for example, in the next measure that we're going to be looking at, in measure 26, you see D5 and D5, and there's a line that connects the two of those. It's called a tie, and that indicates that I either typically don't repeat that, or if you look at, for example, verses 1 through 3, there's only one syllable, so it will sound silly if you play it again. So the reason it's there is because of the final verse 4, where evil needs to be sung, and that's 2 syllables. So if you see a tie, then that indicates that most times I don't play it twice, I just play it once. But it's up to your judgment. Okay, so let's go ahead. We've done the right hand. Let's go ahead and put the left hand in there, and then we'll keep going. Actually, we'll sing the lyrics, and then we'll keep going. So from the beginning, that's 24, 25, and 26. We'll do left hand and right hand together. Make sure in the right spot. Yep, and there we go. Okay, I am going to add in our little introductory section, what this looks like is you're going to play our left hand pattern. You'll play that 3 times. Okay, and then the right hand will come in. I'll illustrate that. Okay, make sure I'm on the right notes. Perfect. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, my hands got a little caught up in each other, so we're going to do that several more times anyways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Beautiful. Okay, let's take a look at the lyrics, which of course is, well, to me, it's the best part. It's the reason that I write the psalm pieces in the first place, is to be able to pray with the words. So this psalm is all about looking to God as our help, as our shield, as our protector, the one who cares for us, etc. So I find a lot of comfort in that. I think it's very beautiful. My understanding is that this psalm was one of the psalms that was sung by the Jewish people while they were going or walking to the temple. So just as a tiny bit of context for you, you know, when they talk about, like in this first part that we're looking at, I lift up my eyes to the hills. They were literally, they may not have literally been going up to Jerusalem, but that was the hill on which their eyes were focused. And so it was very beautiful to consider that they were singing about the very thing that they were doing. And so I guess we're invited to share in that in our own sort of ascent of the heart, even if we're not literally walking to Jerusalem. But let's take a look at that first section. Again, I lift up my eyes to the hills. So let's go ahead and add those lyrics in. Of course, with all of this, I'm just going straight through it, but I would very much encourage you to simply pause. When I do the right hand, pause, get the right hand down. When we add the left hand in, with the right hand, do those together a number of times till you're comfortable with it. Certainly don't move on as fast as I'm going. This is intended for you to just be able to pause and practice at your own pace. But for this video, I'm going to go ahead and add the lyrics in so that you can do that once you are at that place and you are comfortable to do that. So just these first measures with the lyrics before we continue looking at the right hand. Oops. Yeah, okay. Gotta always make sure I'm starting in the right spot. Okay. From the beginning through the first half of 26. I lift up my eyes to the hills. Again. I lift up my eyes to the hills. One more time, just because this is our first time putting it all together. I lift up my eyes to the hills. Okay, let's keep going with the right hand. So we have that first section done. Let's take a look at the end of 26 and go from there. So we ended with D. To the hills. Okay. And we're going to start with D. This is an example of, you see these two Ds next to each other. I only play that once. I almost never, actually I never played them twice. So I would say play that once. And then we're going to be skipping our E and going up to F5. So D to F, F again, and then G, and then a quick G to F and F again. So we're hanging out up here. So now that I'm saying that, let me give you a little bit of fingering. In measure 25, we ended with D, C, D. And I think it's usually easiest to use your pointer finger and your thumb. But when you play that D again in 25, rather than using the pointer finger that's already on there, I would shift it to your thumb because you're going to need to go higher. You don't have to do this, but it would lead you, if you don't, to be using these two fingers, your ring and your middle finger, to do rather quick notes at the top, and I find that more difficult than is necessary. So since you already have a pause built into the music, I would shift your your right hand up just one. So again, we had here, excuse me, that's my stomach. And then shift it up just one. So if you're not looking at the string, which is kind of a nice thing to try to do sometimes, I would just, you can feel obviously where your pointer finger is, where that string is. And so before letting it go, just make sure that your thumb kind of takes over. Okay, so we have D, again, D, F, F, G, and then G, F, F. So here's how it sounds with the proper rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1. This is measures the end of 26, all of 27, and the first half of 28. I'll do that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1. Actually, I'm going to do it one more time without counting so you can hear it real well. And I kind of clipped both notes, so I want to make it even cleaner for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's add the left hand in. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry. I'm actually going to start with the left hand. Excuse me, because it will be playing already. So instead of counting in, I'm gonna count with my left hand. So let me show you what I mean. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me do that again for you. All right. Now, what lyrics do we have here? We just sang, I lift up my eyes to the hills. Now we have, from where does my help come? So, right and left hand together, plus the lyrics, just in this one particular section. We're going to sing, from where does my help come? From where does my help come? Again. From where does my help come? Now let's put that with what we did before. So we'll do from the beginning through measure 28. We're going to sing, I lift up my eyes to the hills, from where does my help come? Okay. From where does my help come? Again. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where does my help come? Awesome. We already have essentially half of the melody down, which is great. This is a pretty straightforward piece to learn, which is, again, one of the reasons I wanted to do a tutorial for, and hopefully it's one that even if you're a beginner, that with some practice you're able to get down and really enjoy and pray with. Okay, so we've finished with where does my help come from. Now let's do the next section. My help comes from the Lord. Let's go ahead and put the whole rest of it together, because it's one phrase and it'll be a little bit less awkward to stop in the middle of it. So we're going to do, my help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. So that will be the end of the first verse and the end of this section of the video, and then we'll come back for the second one. Okay. So we ended with where does my help come from, which is this F. Oops. Yes. Okay. That's what we ended with. Great. We're going to start with that F again. We have F. Then measure 29. We have G, F, E flat, D, D, E, D, C, B flat, and then A, C, A, and B. Excuse me, B flat. Okay, I'm gonna pause for a second. I want to draw your attention, if you have the sheet music, to some of these slightly more confusing spots here. Okay, for this first verse, I want to articulate more clearly what notes you are and are not going to play if you're looking at the sheet music, because it is a little bit confusing. We have, again, we are starting with our F. We go G, F, E, and then you'll see two Ds. This, because the word from is what extends through there, you're only going to play that once. So you can ignore the second D for this verse. Then you see that there is a sort of double note there, E flat and D. What that is indicating is, for this verse, you're going to simply play the E as if it's an eighth note. So we'll go E, D. Okay? The way this will sound is as follows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Again, as we go through each verse, I'll explain those little sections. The next measure, let's do the same thing. Let's take a closer look at that. You see that the word is just Lord there. So we have D, Lord. Okay, so the word Lord does go down. But where you see the C5 and B flat 4, the only time you need to worry about that is in verse 3, which we are clearly not on. So don't worry about that. You'll go again from on the word Lord, D to C, and then simply wait until the word who should come in, and that'll be on that B flat. And then the rest is straightforward. Yes. So let me go ahead and do, now that we've kind of clarified those sections, if it's not clear in the way I've just articulated it, what I would do is just take a listen. I'm going to play this 3 times, this ending section, and then we'll sing it, or we'll put the 2 hands together and then I'll sing it, and you'll just know how it's supposed to go just through your ear. So let's do this right hand only for this section. This is the last part of measure 28 through 29, 30, 31, and 32. Okay, so we've got our F. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's put the left hand in with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more time before we add lyrics in. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now the lyrics are, "My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth." So how do we fit those in with this? Let's take a listen. My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. Again. My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. Awesome. Hopefully you're getting the hang of it by this point. And now let's go ahead and play the whole first verse. And just to draw your attention to how much of the song we've actually learned, once you have the whole verse, all you're going to do is repeat this exact same thing for another 3 times, and then we just have a tiny bit of a section at the end. So that's it. So the next sections are going to be much faster because we've already got the notes. We just need to figure out the lyrics and how do those particular words fall in with the little melody that we have going here. Okay, so let's go from the beginning and do that first entire verse. So we will be reading or singing, excuse me. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. Very beautiful. Okay, so make sure we're on the right notes. Awesome. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. Okay, let's do that again. 2, 3. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. Beautiful. All right, work on that. Get comfortable, real comfortable with that, because again, this is what we're going to be playing several more times. And when you're ready for that, come back for the next verse. Okay, we're ready for verse 2 now. Let's take a look at what we're going to be working with. We see that first section is exactly the same in regards to what notes we're playing. There's no notes with parentheses, etc. The syllables fall exactly the same for this particular case in relation to verse 1. So let's go ahead and just jump right into the lyrics, because you're already comfortable with how your hands are playing. And let's play and sing the second verse from the beginning with that left-hand kind of intro, just through the end of the word moved. So we'll sing, "He will not let your foot be moved." All right. I will illustrate at the end of this how the transition between the verses goes. It's really just a matter of allowing your left hand to continue to play, and then you come in for that verse. But I'll talk about that more in a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the second verse. You will not let your foot be moved. Again. You will not let your foot be moved. Great, let's keep on going. We have, "He who keeps you will not slumber." This also falls in exactly the same way as what we did before. So let's go ahead and just add that on to what we've been doing. Again, I'm going a little bit fast if you're just trying to follow exactly along with me, so pause and practice as you need to. All right. You will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Again. You will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Awesome. Let's keep moving forward. We have, "Behold, he who keeps Israel." So let's take a closer look at this one, make sure that we know exactly how we're going to be singing it, because this is the part that's a little tricky. Behold, he who keeps Israel. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Behold, he who keeps Israel. Now that Israel, at the E to the L, that last drop from the D to C, I don't know singing very well, so maybe it's just my poor singing, but sometimes I find that a little hard to do. I'm almost a little bit out of breath. Maybe that's a bad sign. I don't know. But feel free, as I do sometimes, which I don't hold the Israel all the way to the C. I just end it at the D, even if I play the C itself. So just a small note there. But let's go ahead and add that part on to what we've got, and then we'll add the final part and practice verse 2 and then the transition between verse 1 and 2 together. So for right now, we're going to play verse 2 from the beginning, measure 21, through the beginning of, or the middle of measure 30.
He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel.
All right. And then the last part is will neither slumber nor sleep. Will neither slumber nor sleep. So the notes are the same. It's just a matter of sometimes the syllables, you have more syllables on one note than you did previously. So I think it's most simple just to listen to how it sounds and then you'll pick it up. Rather than explaining, well, this is a quarter note and this one's a half note, or quarter note and eighth note, and this one's twice as long. I think it's, again, just easier to just get it in our ear, and then it'll become quite natural feeling. So I'm going to start with behold in measure 28 and 29 because it's all one phrase, and I'll add on that end. So here's how this is going to sound.
Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep.
Again.
Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep.
Awesome. Okay, let's do all of verse 2, and then we will put 1 and 2 together, and I'll articulate, and you'll see how the left hand will play as a little bit of a pause time between the verses, and it will be the same between every verse. So right now, let's do all of verse 2, and then we'll put them together.
He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep.
One more time.
He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep.
Beautiful. Okay. So let's go ahead and put verse 1 and 2 together. If you had the sheet music, okay, it didn't copy over into that copy, but what you're essentially going to do, I'll verbally explain it and then I'll illustrate it. When you finish a verse, you will play the left hand 2 more times. This before the second verse starts. So let's go ahead and do 1 and 2 together, and I'll count those out for you so that you can play along or listen along and then play, and you know the way that it's intended to sound. All right. Verses 1 and 2.
I lift up my eyes to the hills. does my help come? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth.
1, 2.
He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to do that only once, just because we're going to do it a number of times in the subsequent sections, but feel free, of course, to go back in the video or to play it as many times as you need to. But get comfortable. The newest thing, in addition, of course, to the second verse, is that transition between the first and second verse. So make sure that you are doing it 2 more times after you've played that last note, which is a B flat, I believe. Yeah, a B flat. So you'll play that B flat, and then you have 2 additional times. 1, 2, and then you let it ring. And then the second or the next verse starts. So give that a practice, get comfortable with that. And then when you're ready to move on to verse 3, that will be our next section. Okay, we're back for verse 3. And we're going to do it in a similar way that we did verse 2, but I actually think we could do it in a little bit bigger chunks. So let's go ahead and, since we've already got practice, with 2 verses, we have the hands down very well at this point, most likely. And so it's just a matter of putting these particular words and knowing exactly where they come from, what syllables go where. So the only thing really to take notice of with the third verse at the beginning is you have a couple of words that are really extended. For example, you have keeper in the measure 25 and 26. So you'll simply sing moving on those particular notes, even though you won't be singing another syllable. The notes will change even though the syllable doesn't necessarily change on several of those. So keeper, the is also a little bit different in the end of measure 26. We've had in verse 2 we had 2 syllables, in verse 1 we had 1, so it's similar to that, but mostly it's keeper, I think. And this one is that first part has less syllables. The second part that we'll include in this has a few more syllables. So in measure 27, for example, you have Lord is your shade, and that's a couple of just one, but it sounds a little bit more, it's a little bit faster. We have to fill in that the beats that we have available there. We have to fill more of those in with syllables because there's just more to get in there. So let's go ahead and start actually singing it. I'll do this twice for you, and then go ahead and practice it on your own and see, okay, how do these particular lyrics, these particular words fit in this time to this melody that we've heard a number of times now. So verse 3, from the beginning until the middle of measure 28.
The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand.
One more time.
The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand.
All right, let's go ahead and keep going. I think the only particularly unique spot for this verse, verse 3, is in measure 30 you see the word nor there. That's the only time we have a syllable that needs to be sung on that particular beat. So when we get there, you'll notice it sounds like there's something a little extra, because there is. And so your note change is going to happen a little bit differently, a little bit sooner at that point. So that's why that B flat is in parentheses, rather than holding the C5 for 2 notes and then coming in with the B flat later, for example, on the word who or will or the in verses 1, 2, and 3. In verse 3, prior to that, we'll have nor, but that will also be on the B flat. So we're going to switch that B flat a little bit early. That's what that parentheses indicates. Everything else is the same. Okay, so we're going to do the rest of this verse. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. So it's mostly that word nor that's a little bit particular in this verse, but let's give it a go, and you will hear how I've arranged it. So here we go. This is measure 28 to the end of this verse.
The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night.
All right, let's put verse 3 all together now.
The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not smite you by day, nor the moon by night.
All right, let's do 1, 2, and 3 all together so we get practice just putting them all together, those transitions, and also a little bit of endurance of playing it 3 times in a row. So from the very beginning, 2 transitions with verses 1, 2, and 3. Here we go. Excuse me.
I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth.
1, 2.
He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep.
1, 2.
The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night.
Perfect. Ta-da! All right, we have 1, 2, and 3 down. Again, work that, and when you're ready to move to verse 4, come back for the next section. All right, we're going to do verse 4, and we're also going to do the end because it's part of verse 4. So we're going to do, it's just 4 measures. So it's very simple, really. It's just a little bit kind of thing at the end, and then following that, our last section will simply be to put it all together. So let's take a look at verse 4. We have the Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. So this one, the particular thing or peculiar thing about this, actually kind of all of verse 4 is that there's a lot less syllables than we've had in some of our other verses. And so, for example, in almost that chapter, measure 27, the word will is spread out across 3 beats, 3 notes in this case, whereas in the most recent verse, verse 3, we had a different word on each one of those. So it's going to feel a little bit longer. Same thing with the word life a little bit later. And then certainly in measure 29, we have Lord and will. So only 2 words and 2 syllables, not just the words, but the syllables are very important. Whereas that has historically been a measure 29 again, where each beat or each note, each beat in particular, has a new syllable on it or even multiple syllables. So this will feel particularly elongated in a certain sense. But let's break it into 2. Let's go ahead and do spots where we're going to take a pause. Let's do the first part from the beginning through measure 28, and then we'll do 28 until where we've been doing it, and then we'll do that last section. So from the beginning through 28, verse 4.
The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life.
One more time.
The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life.
All right, then the second half of this 4th verse, we have the Lord will keep your going out and your coming. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming. So how do these syllables land with this part of the song? Let's take a listen.
The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in.
Again.
The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in.
Now let's put those 2 sections together before we do that final end of the song.
The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in.
Okay, now let's do the final part of the song. We are looking now at measure 33 until the end of the song. We see that in verse 4, we have this last little part, from this time on and forevermore. I think this is very beautiful. With the whole song, the whole psalm has been about the protection of the Lord and us going into his security and him keeping us safe, him shielding us night, day, etc. And so to have the end say that he will do this from this time on and forevermore. At all times he will do this. So it's just such a lovely psalm, and such a lovely one to sing and to put into song. So this is different than anything we've done before, but let's take a look at it. We're going to leave that left hand out. We're looking at that last note, or the only note actually in the right hand, in measure 33. We have B flat again. Excuse me. So we have B flat, D, E flat, which is same notes as we had at the very beginning, but the rhythm is slightly different. So again, B flat, D, E. We have E again, D, E, D, B. So let's do it without the lyrics, just the right hand in the proper rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was not quite right. Okay, let me try that one more time for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For this one, for your fingering, because you're only playing these three notes, B flat, D, and E flat, my suggestion would be to use your thumb, pointer finger, and middle finger, but to just keep your hand in that spot, rather than trying to move up or something like that. It'll be easier to miss a string if you do that. So let's put the two hands together, and then we'll add the lyric on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again. Now with the lyrics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
From this time on and forevermore.
One more time, and I'm going to actually finish off the left hand. I've been stopping a little bit early. You'll see that once we have the that B flat, you play the left hand essentially 3 more times and then end just on the B flat down there. So I'll count that out, but this time I'll play it as is written in the sheet music. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
From this time on and forevermore.
2, 3, and slow down. We'll do one more time with that ending so you can get that in your ear. Change my mind, we're gonna do it in additional time than I planned. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
From this time on and forevermore.
2, 3, slow down. Awesome. Okay, with that, let's go ahead and put all of verse 4 together, and then we'll have our last section where we have the whole song together, all four verses, and that will conclude our tutorial. But let's do verse 4 first. That's a little bit tough to say. Okay. Yep.
The Lord will keep you from this time on and forevermore.
Lovely little piece. Okay, practice that, work that till you're comfortable, and then we'll come back and we'll put the whole thing together. Okay, we're back. We're ready to play all of Psalm 121 all together. I'm playing it slow now, but I'm not sure I really play it any faster, to be honest with you, both for the purposes of prayer and also it's just a very soft and kind of holding song, and so to play it faster is probably not very fitting, but play it as is best for you. But yeah, just to let you know that I'm playing it about as fast as I probably would play it anyways. So let's give it a go. Psalm 121 all the way through.
I lift up my eyes to the hills, from where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth.
1, 2.
He will not let your foot be moved. He'll keep you, will not slumber. The Holy who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep.
1, 2.
The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in. From this time on and forevermore.
Wonderful. Okay, as always, I hope this has been of help to you. I hope you've enjoyed spending time with this psalm and learning the song as you go. Yeah, I hope it's a gift and a blessing to you. Thanks so much. God bless, and may the peace of Christ be with you.